Well, the Dodgers won. That's the bad news. Good news is at least our Sea Snakes, aka our Dbacks, are also up 2-0. We're going to talk about the postseason, and we're also going to talk about this Milwaukee Brewers team that ended the season with the best record in the NL and how the Diamondbacks could perhaps follow their blueprint to have some consistent postseason appearances. We're all doing this in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. To another edition of the PHNX Dbacks podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It is I, your mayor of PHNX, occasionally known as Derek Montiel. We got our guy Damon Dawg, aka Damon Farrell. Woo! Tonight, he's pumped, but that's fake.
Why am I pumped?
He's not that happy. He was very mad.
Life is despair.
Ago.
Life is darkness.
Yeah.
Life is baseball sucks.
Everything is the worst, and Damon, in fact, can't wait for whatever's going to happen in 2027. The lockout, just bring it on right now. The strike, whatever we're doing. But great to have you guys here. Sean, great to see you guys here. I know you were over there watching our guys do their Suns watch along. We're both battling, watching the LA teams tonight, rooting against them to no luck for the time being. But great to have you guys here. Of course, this show is brought to you by our friends at Bet365 and Game Time. Go download that Bet365 app right now. Use our code of PHNX365. When you do, you'll sign up and get yourself some bonus bets for following a few easy steps over at Game Time. Use our code of PHNX. You'll get $20 off your first already low ticket price. Again, great to have you guys here. We got some good news. We got some bad news. Start with the bad news, and that is that the Dodgers now take a 2-0 lead after beating the Brewers again in Milwaukee tonight by a score of 5-1. I think that's what the final score was. I stopped paying attention, quite frankly, after a while. Who cares?
Sports are dumb.
Sports are the worst.
Derek,
Why do we do this?
So much.
Can we do a movie podcast? I would pivot to a Peacemaker podcast right now because I have some thoughts on that finale for sure. And there's a good chance that Damon and I might dress up as Peacemaker and Eagly for Halloween as a couple's costume, but that's for a later time. That's for October 31st. For now, we have to worry about the Dodgers looking very good to be in a position to once again make it back to the World Series and be a tough out considering how good their starting pitching has been. Here on the road, they take both games in Milwaukee, and now the series comes back to LA for 3 games. It's not looking good for the Brew Crew, and it was another incredible start from a Dodgers starting pitcher. We knew that they were loaded. We knew that their starters were good, but we also knew that a few of their starters like Blake Snell and Yamamoto, who have been incredibly good in this series, were their workhorses that they could really lean on once the postseason came around. Like Damon said, of course, this team finds a way to luck themselves into, a closer situation or at least a high leverage arm there in Roki Sasaki out of their bullpen, considering how bad their bullpen was or has been this season. But despite the fact that the Brewers won all 6 meetings between these two teams, the Dodgers walk away here with the first 2 wins. Yamamoto tonight, incredible. 8 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 6K. Damon, they don't even need their terrible bullpen because they have their starters going 7 and 8 innings regularly, and they figured out that Roki Sasaki, can fill this role that they need. So really, they just need their mid guys to be able to come in and only be mid for like maybe 1 inning.
Yeah, Derek, I guess that's what a $400 million rotation buys you these days when it comes to baseball. Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Yoshi Yamamoto. I mean, it's ridiculous. But that being said, I mean, I think, the Roki Sasaki thing is very Dodgers. It's very emblematic of the Dodgers. And that's a real take. Like, that's not even me trolling. It's so to me, like, that's the difference between the Dodgers and the Dbacks, Derek, is if the Dbacks had a Roki Sasaki type of signing and it was a disaster, it would debilitate the team. Whereas for the Dodgers, they're like, we'll let him figure it out in AAA. We'll let him rehab. We'll let him sit up and fix his injury. And then we're going to bring him back in a new role that he's never done before, and he's going to be insane at it. And you're like, we can't even find one good bullpen pitcher. How are you turning your failed starters who are crying on the mound and we're all laughing at them on Twitter?
I know.
And then now he's just a shutdown guy out of the pen. I mean, it really is emblematic, in my opinion, of our struggle in the NL West of what we can't do and what they are very, very good at doing, and that's finding ways to fix players.
Well, the best point, or I guess the one thing that really highlights your point, really makes your point here, Damon, Shohei Ohtani, the guy that any team in baseball would have had to empty the bank in order to get, would have been the star, the focus. And
see, Derek, this is where you're wrong. When I tweeted the other day about the lamest hat that has ever been made in the history of existence,
it's such a bad hat,
that just says Shohei Ohtani written across it in letters. I obviously
that's how words work.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's a diabolical hat. There's no design. It's just words. And
yeah, it's the old school, like it's usually a team name. It's like Los Angeles Kings, really big, or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Kings is a big one that they do for that.
Right.
And so it just says Shohei Ohtani. And apologies for not having this ready. But it's like it's the lamest hat ever. I was told, Derek, that I'm mad about it because the Diamondbacks have never produced, quote unquote, produced a player worthy of a hat like that. So you're wrong. The Dodgers didn't sign Shohei Ohtani. They produced Shohei Ohtani. They made him.
Don't bring your Twitter beefs to the show.
That's what I was told.
But you're bringing your Twitter beefs to the show.
I
was trying to make an honest point because Shohei Ohtani right now, Damon, in the playoffs is hitting 147 with a 599 OPS. He was 1 for 5 tonight with 3 strikeouts. The point being is, once again, the Dodgers just can overcome Ohtani having a bad postseason.
Yeah.
Because they have other guys like Teoscar Hernandez who picks up the slack. They have, tonight, Teoscar hit a home run, 2 for 5 tonight. You had kind of a well-rounded effort from this, offense, but you honestly had the 6 through 9 guys helping them more than the top of the lineup. Tommy Edman, 2 for 4 tonight. Kiki Hernandez was 2 for 3.
The best player
with 2
in
runs
playoff
scored
history.
And a walk. Andy Baez, again, 1 for 2. So,
I saw someone say that Kershaw and Kike switch, they Monstar talent when the playoffs comes around. And so Kershaw goes from being a Hall of Famer to a bum.
Yeah, he gives him all of his energy.
And Kike goes from being a utility guy. He goes from being Tim Tawa to being some needle mover every postseason somehow.
Well, and again, the way that the Dodgers have been doing this has been pitching. It has been pitching, and they've been able to maintain those leads. And it's, again, and Max Muncy. Don't even get me started on Max Muncy.
I hate him.
I was driving over listening to the game on Sirius XM. I don't know if that's a free ad. I don't think it is. That's just a service to listen to in your car. But when you listen to the play-by-play for baseball games,
us on Sirius XM somehow. I don't know.
They give you the broadcast for one of the teams, right? So I was listening to the radio broadcast for the Dodgers. Made me sick. It made me sick. Did you know they play a little cute song when someone does something well? So they played some sort of song for Max Muncy, and I wanted to punch my radio. I almost got in an accident on the freeway over it.
They should play Hell's Bells when something happens good for the Dodgers, because that's what it feels like.
No, that's what it feels like for us.
It really does.
Blake
Such
Snell,
as Bryce Turang, which we'll talk about.
Well, we can talk about it right now. But game 1, the Dodgers win by 2-1, right? They win this game tonight 5-1. They've been doing it through pitching, and they don't even have that much offense that they're generating, right? It's wild. And we're going to get to what the Mariners have been doing to the Blue Jays and holding that very potent offensive team. But the Brewers had no problem rolling into the postseason and putting up runs, especially early runs against the Chicago Cubs in their NLDS series, right? So now you have
good pitchers too.
Right, good pitchers, right? But Blake Snell, dominant. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, dominant. 8 shutout innings for Blake Snell, 10 strikeouts, no walks. Yoshinobu Yamamoto tonight, eight innings again. One home run, one mistake allowed to Jackson Churio. But like you said, the Brewers pushed late. They had a chance against a guy that was one of their bums from their bullpen in Blake Trinan. Loaded bases in the ninth. Blake Trinan strikes out Bryce Turang to seal the win. And Bryce Turang had a pitch that came inside that he moved out of the way of? You're moving out of the way of a pitch. Is that the best way to describe it? Would it be just more that it was just like he didn't lean into it, or would you say that he actively got out of the way of pitch?
Derek, he fully played limbo with the baseball. Like it was one of those situations. You know how like in a cartoon, like SpongeBob will like make his like leg make a 90-degree angle to like avoid something?
Yeah.
That's what Bryce Turang was willing to do with his body. He was going to contort it in ways that you've never seen a guy contort his body to avoid a baseball before. It was Matrix style. I mean, I've never seen a dude blow it as bad as Bryce Turang did.
Yeah.
1-2, Derek. It's not like it was a 2-0 count and he's like, you know what? I'm going to get something that's good to hit here and you know, let me swing the bat. He's down to his final strike when that pitch gets made. You're down to your final strike already. I don't say this lightly, Derek. I would take that pitch right now to switch that game's fate. I'm not even a Brewers fan.
Yeah.
That's how much I hate the Dodgers, yes. Yeah. But I'm willing to do that for the people that are like, you don't get it, it's major league pitching. 85 miles per hour, it hurts. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It hurts.
Yeah.
But like unless it like fluke somehow breaks his kneecap, I mean, he's just going to wear it, get a bruise, and play tomorrow.
I understand that sometimes instinctually that's like just your natural reaction is to get out of the way of the ball. But
I think that works for like your head and neck area where it's like, it's
coming in and
protect the goods.
Trying to hurt you, right?
For sure. But I feel like when you're in that situation, you almost go into the box, Derek, and your approach is if he throws something inside, like be prepared to wear it because that's game. Or not game, but it's game changing.
Yeah.
It keeps you in it at least. So I don't know, man. The stakes are way too high for you to be jumping out of the way of that.
Yeah, I mean, Damon is not joking about
Zabe,
that.
I'm not kidding. I'd do it right now.
He would run. It wouldn't even be a baseball. He'd jump in front of a moving car if it meant
8:36 p.m. Yeah, for sure.
Beating the Dodgers.
For
if
sure.
It meant anyone beating the Dodgers, right? And then you had a Freddie Freeman solo home run that broke the tie. Mookie Betts drew a base-loaded walk to add the insurance run. And you also had that weird 8-6-2 double play in the fourth that was kind of awesome. Went the Brewers' way, That's when I thought, when that happened, Damon, when that double play happened, I was like, the Dodgers are going to lose this game. I was so convinced that everything in the universe was going against them. And,
it's not how it works. It's not how it works. In fact, everything goes so for the Dodgers that like they get like ground rule doubles that help them.
Yeah, well,
like that because that situation, you never know, man. That could have potentially changed things for the Brewers as well. If that ball is becomes a triple, if they score that first run, like you never know what the butterfly effect of that is. But we're upsetting the people now. Ernesto is wondering if this is the Dodgers Haters Club.
Yeah, that's what we came here. Yes, he says, I'm here from the ad. This is the Dodgers Haters Club. Yes, this is what we're here to do. He said, Sean said, I'm so mad that 8-6-2 happened and the Dodgers still won. Yeah, exactly. That's how I felt. Like it felt like everything was going the Brewers' way at that point. And unfortunately, it did not. It has not, and they are down 0-2. It's difficult now. They go back to LA and they have to take, They have to take 2 of those games in LA to keep their postseason hopes alive, and then still, have a very hard road ahead of them against this Dodgers rotation. But again, no matter what happens in that series, the team that comes out will be the bad guy for us. They will be the heel. So let it be the Dodgers, right? I mean, I don't really care. I don't want to get attached to Brewers players like I am now, Damon, because I'm rooting for them. And then, have to root against them when the World Series comes around.
But like my rooting against the Brewers in the World Series would be like, yeah, I hope the American League team wins. Whereas like my rooting against the Dodgers in the World Series is like, this means everything to me.
Yeah,
I won't sleep tonight if this team loses against the Dodgers. So it's like it's very like it's just to different scales. It's almost incomparable.
He's going to sacrifice a live chicken if the Dodgers make it to the World Series. That's going to happen. But
don't tell anybody about that. That's animal cruelty.
I'm sorry.
You're doxing me right now.
Just let's keep that to ourselves. But it's definitely understandable, Damon, if they do go there to match up with our Dbacks, aka the Sea Snakes,
Of course.
who are somehow inexplicably up 2-0 over the Toronto Blue Jays. And man, they put it to them in game 2, winning 10-3. Julio Rodriguez hits a 3-run home run. Jorge Polanco is still just on a tear this offseason. He has been incredible for the Mariners over the last 3 games. And then we got Josh Naylor adding a 2-run shot. Dad strength on display, Damon. He's back. He's never been more back.
He's nasty.
I don't know how this man is doing it. I don't know where he is, what well of energy he is tapping into. Maybe it's just returning to Canada. Like, the closer, I've said it, the closer he is to Canada, the more powerful he is. And that is definitely what is happening now. And it's just really good to see the Mariners, take it to the Toronto Blue Jays like they have. Like I said, I'm still really impressed how they have come out in these first 2 games and played against this tough Blue Jays team, considering how, how depleted they were after that 15-inning game. That's an instance where I can't help but think of the Diamondbacks and be like, the Diamondbacks postseason would be over by a 15-inning game. Like, they would never be able to recover from a 15-inning game. They would never be able to recover from it. So, here you got our Sea Snakes moving on. Now, teams notably that go up 2-0. This is good news, bad news situation here. The teams that go up 2-0 have an 83.9% chance to win a best-of-7 game series. Now, obviously, a little different here in this scenario because both teams have won the first 2 games on the road, and I feel like that has to increase it. I don't want to get into Steiner math, but I think we're at 123% chance of winning here for the Seattle Mariners. But
and that was what I was going to say, Derek. The other factor you have to factor in is that none of those percentages have anything to do with the Seattle Mariners and their postseason play. Because that's a franchise that has just been tortured in the playoffs.
You are not wrong.
So, it's almost like incomparable. It's not the Mariners matter nothing to those postseason statistics.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the Mariners could choke a 3-0 lead. I wouldn't be shocked.
Easy. And I mean, it would be they've never made a World Series.
Yeah.
So
that feels very like, I don't want that to happen at all. I'm rooting for him. It's just like knowing Shane, knowing the way that like Mariners fans talk about their team, because I feel like I don't know correct me if you feel differently, Derek. Every Mariners fan I've ever met is like a really nice, cool person.
Shane, you're not okay. Yes, you're right about that. And they're very accepting of the fact that their baseball team lets them down and disappoints them no matter how good they.
But they love their team.
But they love their team and never stop loving them. But let me tell you, around the midpoint of this season, our ad guy Zach decided to AI up a fun little picture of him and Shane on the field at T-Mobile, hugging while the Mariners were celebrating winning the World Series. And when he made that, everybody looked at him and asked him what he was doing. Like, how bad did he want really to send this team down in flames? And it almost happened, but thanks to the intervention of an Etsy witch, somehow the Mariners sit here. And again, this Etsy witch, Damon, is really the piece of investigative journalism that we need to figure out on this show. Not that we need to let this information get out, but we need to figure out a way to find the contact information for this Etsy witch.
Harbor her powers.
Right.
And use them for good.
We could hire her at PHNX.
Correct.
Right. And we could bring her into the Arizona sports fold as a whole. We could end this misery that we're experiencing on a different level. On a grand scale. Like, I don't know how it would work with you guys and the Sun Devils. Like, that still seems to be something we would have to figure out.
I'll tell you what, we don't lose to Utah teams. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Again, you're bringing your Twitter beefs in here. I feel like, this is your real life beef. So
we both lost to Utah teams. That's what I'm saying.
I know.
All that I'm sure is that's right in the world. If the witch is on our side, is that we're not losing to Utah teams.
Right.
That's for damn sure. But yeah, we need to find a way to harbor that
See,
power.
RA says we need our own thing. And like, he's not wrong about that. However, I don't know what to pivot to. I'm a man of science. I've said that many times on this show, even though I do believe what I write in my rundowns does affect games, including the fact that I had to do a show about the Arizona Cardinals while they were playing the Titans. And I had a very pro rundown being written, Damon, and I still feel very responsible for both the Amari DiMercado fumble out of the back of the end zone and that interception that was fumbled away. I feel responsible for both of those. So maybe our magic could be me writing negative things about the Diamondbacks on my rundown every single game, and then maybe that could lead to an undefeated season. I don't know. We got to figure something out.
Fought stinks as Diamondbacks blow it again.
Before he even touches the ball. Before he even touches the ball. When I first opened my eyes in the morning, Erod blows it again. Yeah. ERA balloons to 12.86.
This bullpen can't help itself.
Because I'm too busy writing positive things in there most of the time. Because that's what I want to happen in my heart. It's what I want to happen in my heart.
Derek, I think you are, and maybe you don't feel this way, but I think you are like in the 1% of positivity when it comes to Diamondbacks fans right now, at least. Because right now the current like landscape of Diamondbacks social media sphere feels very overtly negative, and I feel like you are at least trying to put a smile on people's faces, and you want like this whole thing to be fun. So it's like you're not going to come in with just awful energy time after time.
I need it to
That's
be
what
fun.
I do on the Wildcats show when we lose, and I sit in the postgame show and I pout the entire time. My parents literally were like, if you want to watch Damon cry on the postgame, they just told me that. Go tune into Saturday.
I mean,
show,
people rarely got to see you when the Diamondbacks were blowing all those games last season during anytime. Damon was an emotional wreck. It was hard for me to get any kind of positivity squeezed in there because Damon was just stealing my positive energy and just turning it into
and then
ash.
we would win like 5 in a row, and I'd be like, "This team is so bad."
Yeah, he's so
and I'm
bipolar.
on the other
crazy.
rail of like, and Derek's like, "Whoa, hold on there. I mean, we're still 6.5 games out of the wild card. It doesn't seem like it's all that likely that we make playoffs." And I'm like, "I'll tell you who doesn't want to face us: the Dodgers. That's who."
He's not wrong. Someone earlier in the chat asked, why are we going to follow the Brewers' blueprint to the failure that is this series? No, but
it's the baseball playoffs.
We are going to talk about the Brewers and how they've been consistently able to make the playoffs, and you got to give credit where credit is due. Even if it might not mean much when the playoffs come around or in this series against the Dodgers, they still have the best record in the National League. So we're going to just take a look at how they got there and wonder if the Diamondbacks can do something that follows their path a little bit more, especially for those naysayers that feel like 2023 was just luck. But the Seattle Mariners, a.k.a. our Sea Snakes, they do have a little bit of luck here on their side, Damon. Brian Wu is returning from injury and was included on the ALCS roster. That's big because honestly, with how depleted they were from this whole situation with that 15-inning game, it's nice to have someone like that back. Meanwhile, Toronto, on the other hand, loses Bo Bichette, who stays off the roster due to knee injuries, and you can feel like his loss is a big reason why this offense isn't clicking like they have. However, they haven't really missed him so far this postseason, but
it's deflating though a little bit. I mean, you're right about like they've sustained it obviously throughout the course of this postseason, but not having a guy like that who, even if maybe his name is a little bit bigger than his actual status as a baseball player, he's still like one of those guys that I think players in that locker room probably look at and say, that's a guy that they expect to be a leader. So it's tough not having that guy on the field with you, but
for sure.
As far as Brian Wu, Shane told me, Derek, that he's the most handsome man alive. What are your thoughts on that?
I can't argue with that. He is a very handsome man. And his teammate, who is starting in Game 3, Bryce Miller, gave him the nickname Shredded Parmesan Cheese.
You want to take a look at these?
Yeah, because apparently Bryce Miller likes to give everybody cheese nicknames. He has nicknamed his fellow pitcher Luis Castillo Big cheese, Logan Gilbert is sandwich cheese. I don't love sandwich cheese. That's
No, that one we could workshop that one.
Yeah, we need
the rest are fire.
George Kirby is sharp cheddar or angry cheddar. Both awesome. Depends on the mood, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if he's out there waxing poetic or maybe laying down some stats, he might be sharp cheddar. But when he's pitching and he's just in the groove and he's just angry, he's angry cheddar.
I was kind of thinking he's sharp cheddar when he's on because he's sharp.
Yeah.
But then when he's angry cheddar when he's not because he's mad about PO'd that he's not pitching well.
Yeah. Then we got Bryce Miller calling himself string cheese.
That one's the best one.
That one's great.
That one's the best one.
How am I supposed to not love this team? Well, I don't even know how I can switch back to being not a Mariners fan next season.
That's honestly fair. They might have a way cooler thing going on than we do. But I'll say this. Bryce Miller totally picked the best nickname for himself.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like, listen, guys, I'm string cheese.
Yeah. George Kirby could have been string cheese.
I don't care what the rest of you are, but I am string cheese.
Yeah, that's
what would you be, Derek? What kind of cheese would you be? Sean says he calls Munster. Zabe calls white cheddar.
Okay, that's crazy. Mozzarella, because it would match with my last name. I'm not Italian, but people think I'm Italian. They definitely don't think I'm Puerto Rican or Hispanic in any way. So I'll take mozzarella Montilla for sure. But Sean says he got dibs on Munster. Elizabeth would be white cheddar. That seems racist. I don't know. I'm not doing that. But what I will say is that, we got a home field shift here. Seattle, like the Dodgers, they have an advantage here. I just feel like I hope the moment doesn't get too big for the Mariners. Like I said, that pressure might start building. And Toronto has to make some adjustments here. They definitely have to do something, especially offensively. I don't know how Seattle has done such a good job of slowing down, the Blue Jays offense. But again, 4 runs total. So this has been pretty good over 2 games for Seattle, and hanging up 10 in game 2 also has to make you feel very good confidence wise about what your offense is able to do. And you did that without Cal Raleigh being a major factor in game 2 as well. So all very positive things for the Dbacks. And we will keep an eye on them tomorrow in their game 3. But we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of this break, we are going to talk a little bit about how the Diamondbacks can build towards what the Brewers got done this year, even if this is the last stand for Milwaukee. We're going to do that on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, if you are looking to make some gear that makes your brand stand apart from the crowd, look no further than Branded Bills. Branded Bills makes some incredible custom-made gear that will not only let your logos and all of your ad work look amazing, but they will also offer you a wide variety of ways to get your brand out there, whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitted beanies, or tees. They have bags, they have t-shirts, they have all sorts of different variety of products. They'll get you taken care of. Start your order, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need. Plus, if you're just a hat aficionado, they have partnerships with 40 universities, including ASU and U of A, as part of their campus collection. And they also partner together with the Phoenix Suns, making some very beautiful hats for our boys over there playing the Lakers.
They even made a Dbacks hat this year, Derek. It is sitting right behind you on set.
Little Dbacks golf action hat. I love that one. I love the rope across the front.
Special edition, that one.
Yeah, that one's hard to get. But, of course, you can get lots of other hats over at their website at brandedbills.com. They're a local company from right here in Mesa, Arizona. And, of course, use our code of BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. Once again, head to brandedbills.com and use that code of BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. And for more than 15 years, Access Insurance Agency of Arizona has provided affordable and reliable car insurance to drivers in the Phoenix metro area. As a dedicated part of the local community, Access Auto helps Arizona drivers get insured by offering flexible coverage options and accepting various forms of IDs, driving history, and license types. By partnering with over 20 insurance carriers, they make it easy for you to compare rates and find the best policy for your budget. They have bilingual Spanish-speaking agents at 9 convenient locations across the valley, and their agents are ready to assist customers in finding the right coverage for their budgets and identifying available discounts. Both cash and card payments are accepted for added convenience. Access Auto, trusted by the community, rooted in Phoenix, and ready to help. All statements are subject to terms, exclusions, and conditions of the applicable policy. In all instances, the current policy contract language prevails. Coverage is subject to individual policyholders meeting underwriting qualifications and state availability. Other terms, conditions, and exclusions may apply. Now, great question earlier there about, why discuss this Brewers team that seems to be going down in flames right now in the NLCS. Well, we could do this about the Dodgers, but the question would start, could we follow the blueprint that the Dodgers laid for success? And then the answer would be a quick no. And then it would be just me and Damon screaming about Shohei Ohtani going to jail for 15 straight minutes.
Which I'm going to be honest. I mean, the crew that's here tonight, Derek, they probably would kind of be in on that.
No, they would love that. They would definitely.
I'm not saying that the general people want that.
Is it productive? No, it's not productive. We're trying to help the front office out. As you know, Mike Hazen is a huge fan of this show and tends to follow whatever instructions we lay down for him to follow. So we're going to have to help him out with this one because we do wonder how the Brewers did build this, right? Like when you think about the Milwaukee Brewers, they're just consistently in the postseason. They're consistently winning their division. And this year, of all years, they were surprisingly the best team in the National League. You could probably say the same thing about the Toronto Blue Jays a little bit, but these teams are kind of vastly different in the way they did it. How did they even get here? And again, for the Arizona Diamondbacks, a lot of what Milwaukee has done over the past years does look awfully familiar to what we have done here in the Valley here with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Maybe a little instructive, but you're going to find a lot of similarities. They've built around pitching, player development, and savvy trades. And we have said already that one of the only ways that the Diamondbacks are going to get out of this 2026 situation that they're in is through trades, not big spending, even though the Diamondbacks have done their fair share of that. In fact, bringing on former Brewer Corbin Burnes was a shocking move for us that covered this team, for fans, for everybody, because even though we thought that the Diamondbacks might go out and try to improve their pitching staff, we definitely did not think that for the second year in a row, they were going to add the best available pitching arm, right? And of course, Milwaukee's identity does start on the mound. That's the most important thing for this Diamondbacks team. If they do want to mimic what the Brewers are doing, they have to figure out a way to get this quality level of starting pitching. Corbin Burnes, Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, those were all homegrown arms. Those are guys that came from their system. And now Freddie Peralta is out there doing it for them in the playoffs, despite the fact that he had a lack of success in the postseason prior to this particular run that they're going through right now. But that's part of it, is consistently developing, their developing pitching depth and developing the next guy up. And then also they made some savvy trades when you talk about savvy moves that the Brewers have made, especially for undervalued arms like Adrian Hauser and Aaron Ashby. Those are guys that are providing them with a lot right now. And unfortunately for the Diamondbacks, they've made their share of savvy moves. Those guys have ended up on the IL for the most part, but not really the quality of moves that you're seeing here from the Brewers that led to these guys, being in these high leverage situations right now in the postseason, right? But there's something there in regards to the pitching development and the pitching lab mentality of the Brewers, and the Dbacks do have kind of a new focus on this out there at Salt River Fields. We're not allowed to go inside it as much as I want to. It's driving me insane. But again, it's about analytics. It's about ways to figure out how to improve these guys. And again, that might be the key factor that's missing for the Diamondbacks. They have had some guys develop, but for the most part, you could still take a look at a few young arms and say that they really haven't done much to progress or develop. And you could probably throw Brandon Pfaadt in there as one of those guys. Ryan Nelson, meanwhile, is more of the outlier for sure. He has had himself an amazing career. And he is another homegrown guy here for the Diamondbacks. But again, when you talk about the trades and the moves they made, they acquired William Contreras and Joel Pamps, and in the 3-team deal that looked very inconsequential at the time. And both of those guys have become foundational for the Brewers, right? And then, obviously they added Christian Yelich when his market value was fairly low, and then extended him early. And even that deal at times didn't look like it was the best, but he has proven to be a top tier talent, as many people thought he was going to, right? But I think the big thing for the Diamondbacks is, a willingness to make those big trades at the time. Their relationship with Corbin Burnes unfortunately deteriorated over some minor things, but it did feel like the connection there between him and Milwaukee, was going away, and it felt like at the time when Milwaukee moved Corbin Burnes that was a move that made that franchise worse, but it didn't. Making willingness to move stars at the right time and moving big names at the right time is a big part of bringing in prospects that are going to help you down the road and give you payroll flexibility, which right now is something the Diamondbacks very much need. Could they do that? Is there somebody, right? Like obviously Ketel Marte is going to be in the trade rumors this entire offseason. If they move Ketel, does it make this team better? I mean, you could argue right now that Ketel Marte is on the decline when it comes to playing at second base. Many people are already clamoring to see somebody else, get some more playing time over there and have Ketel be DH. We get that question regularly on Mailbag Monday, right? So this is, again, one of those, cases where maybe a big trade for this team, maybe it's not Alec Thomas, maybe it's not Jake McCarthy. Those guys aren't really going to move the needle. Maybe it's something as major as moving Corbin Burnes. Again, I hate the idea of that, but considering how late it's going to be for Corbin Burnes to return this team, they could make some sort of move for Corbin Burnes that is going to disgust us, but is going to somehow bring this team return. That would be kind of a crappy move, though, honestly, if I'm not, that's probably a terrible idea considering that he signed here specifically to be in Arizona, and that would be kind of a jerk thing to do, but sometimes it's about business, right? So I don't know. I think that there are, some similarities here, and the Diamondbacks need to get back to an emphasis on athletic, position flexible defenders like they're getting with some of their young guys. That can keep run prevention elite even when their bats go cold and can kind of keep these games close. The Brewers have a top 5 defense in Major League Baseball and outs above average. And Pat Murphy has just always emphasized adaptability. He's also emphasized accountability, right? So Pat Murphy is a guy that we very much know here in the Valley. He would be a guy that many people would love to have managing this Diamondbacks team. And again, I feel like Pat Murphy is a little bit more of a Jeff Bannister than he is of a Torey Lovullo, for sure, even though he likes to keep things light, and he also keeps pancakes in his pockets at all times. Like any man that's ready to eat breakfast and doesn't just get ready, stays ready to eat breakfast, has my respect 100%. But, the one thing about this Brewers team year after year is it doesn't really seem to be a team built of superstars. Like, They have brewing superstars for sure. Jackson Chourio is already a superstar, right? But, it's built around roles. It's built around internal development, and it's built around stability. And that's something that the Diamondbacks don't really have, especially stability. Like, they're not getting consistent play out of their players. They're not getting consistent pitching. They're not getting consistency year after year. And even Torey, the message doesn't really seem consistent. That's one thing that I can definitely say has changed over the last few seasons, and I'm sure we'll have a completely different tone in 2026, considering the dire need of this team, getting things back on track for sure. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to talk about the Diamondbacks and how they can follow this blueprint, what they can do to follow this Brewers style approach, and if that approach is actually good enough to win the World Series or just make the playoffs year after year like we're seeing from Milwaukee. We're going to talk about that on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, one place you should go is Circle K. It is America's thirst stop, and it is for a great reason. I got some of the cheapest gas in Southern California that I feel like I've gotten in years. It was $2.52. $2.52 at a Circle K in Benson. God bless Southern Arizona. Don't let Damon hear me say any of this, but God bless Southern Arizona and God bless Circle K. Got myself some cheap gas, and that was thanks to their special visit once per week and save 10 cents off per gallon. All you got to do is make a $5 minimum purchase, which I did early on in my road trip. And then I was rewarded next time I had to stop at the gas station to fill up gas with 10 cents off. You do that with a $5 purchase or a 5-gallon fill up, and you can earn that once per week. You can also do that, save yourself on Polar Pops, 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters. But all of this is only if you are an Inner Circle member. So join the Inner Circle for free. It's their free membership program. It's easy to download and get enrolled. Then you just use your phone number to score Circle K deals, like all that stuff I listed. Plus $3 or 3 for $5 Gatorades, those 28-ounce Gatorades, and so much more. So stop in today. Join Inner Circle for free before you come in by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. And of course, Rally House is your go-to spot for all of your favorite local Arizona team gear. Not only are we doing...
Derek, you're literally a Rally House commercial right now, what you're wearing.
I mean, I keep it fresh when it comes to team gear, do I not? And of course, that when the people at Rally House see me coming, they know they got one.
They go, like, oh man, okay, everybody. They start tapping each other. They go, here we go. Game time, everybody, game time.
This guy's gonna spend everything he has.
Put the 20% sale sign out.
Yeah.
He's gonna lose it.
Don't do that to me. You do that to me, you're gonna get me for sure. And that's because I love sales. I love me a deal. And Rally House has deals. They have sales. They have all sorts of great team gear. They have everything you're looking for. And most importantly, they have something new every single time you come in. They carry only Arizona sports teams too. At least that's what they tell me. So if you find a Dodgers jersey in a Rally House here in Arizona, send me a picture of it immediately, and I will talk to someone about that. But of course you won't, because they don't have that stuff in their shop. And they have locations here in Tempe, Mesa, and Glendale. So make sure to check out a location near you. And of course, get yourself ready for game day out there at Rally House. Find your local Rally House location and shop their entire product assortment online at rallyhouse.com today. Well, before we talk, Damon, about if the Diamondbacks can follow their blueprint of the Brewers, I guess we'll circle back around to the original point being made before we even got into this discussion, and it is, should they follow the blueprint of the Brewers? I mean, we have already said that a measure of success for this franchise has to be making the playoffs, right? And you can't really say... You can't expect more, I think, from any major league team besides teams that spend the millions and millions of dollars that teams like the Mets and the Dodgers spend. You can't really expect those teams to make the World Series every year. The best you can expect out of a small market team like the Milwaukee Brewers or the Diamondbacks is to make the postseason year after year. But if every trip to the postseason ends in a early exit, an ALCS or an NLCS exit, an NLDS exit, even a wild card exit, does it make it worthwhile if you're not making that next step? It feels like that's what's missing here for the Brewers. But they still did it with a young team that they've kind of, they don't have a whole lot of veteran presence on. Like these guys are, they have a few guys that are getting up there in age, but for the most part, this is still a very young Milwaukee team that they've been able to kind of flip over year after year and keep themselves at least relevant enough to win their division and make it in the postseason. Yeah,
the Brewers are, I think, definitely a great example of sustainable winning culture when it comes to baseball. And maybe that doesn't come with insane amounts of postseason success, but Derek, I feel like as Diamondbacks fans, like you said, like our goal should be throwing as many darts at the dartboard as possible. We've seen this team go on a couple miraculous runs in franchise history, and it doesn't always happen when you think it is. I mean, in 2001, I think that team was always stacked and loaded and, had such a great regular season that it made sense. But in 2023, we thought it was all down and out after the Astros beat the crap out of us in the final series of the season, and we backed our way in. And then what happened? You beat the Brewers, and then all of a sudden, and you barely beat the Brewers. Then momentum starts happening, and then it leads to a game 3 where you're blowing out the Dodgers and stepping on their necks, right?
Yeah.
And it's some of the most fun we've ever had as Dbacks fans. I think it's totally like not fair to this organization with the division that they're in to expect them to just win the NL West and do that year in and year out. But I do think that finding consistently a way to make the postseason is totally the goal, in my opinion.
You're right. And I mean, they're going to have to do it without spending like the top teams do, right? Arizona can stay competitive without big spending, but they got to nail development and they got to nail timing their extensions right, like they did with Geraldo Perdomo, like they did with Corbin Carroll, like they've done with Ketel Marte.
Yeah.
You know, it's the reason why I've been clamoring for a Gabriel Moreno, and I have extension, and I have for the last 2 years. I think now might be a great time for it, considering he had a down year, that their numbers and Gabby's numbers might align a little bit more. But that is, again, the only way that they're going to do it. Milwaukee ranks near the bottom third in payroll nearly every year, yet they stay relevant every year. And that's the thing is that I know a lot of teams can't do it, but Milwaukee is finding a way to do it, right?
Yeah.
And they were able to do it with guys like Freddie Peralta, who you could say is maybe a little bit similar to a Brandon Pfaadt. I mean, just as far as, you know, developing a pitcher and having him come up, especially what we saw out of Pfaadt in the postseason. He was dominant at times. He was incredible. We don't even know where those performances kind of came from because we didn't even really see stuff like that from him during the 2023 regular season. Yet he was able to dig down and give us, you know, big game Brandon.
Oh, he was awful at the 2023 regular season.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Up until he made that infamous pitching change to the other side of the mound because Brent Strom called him in the middle of the night, right? But they got to be aggressive. Football slider. Be aggressive with smart trades. They got to be aggressive with smart trades. And that's right now what is so important is it feels like the Diamondbacks could turn a corner, and you do have this cavalry of pitching reinforcements on the horizon that will come back in July. Just how do we get from here to there without being 15 games back from any kind of playoff spot, right? And again, the only way that they're going to be able to do that is to trade some of their controllable outfield depth that they have in Jake McCarthy and Alek Thomas for some sort of bullpen help or some sort of starting pitching help. I'm not saying that that's going to happen because, again, Jake's numbers this year weren't great. Alex a little better. I think Alex still has a lot of potential, and a team might see that potential in Alek Thomas. You might just have to, quite frankly, get a team like the White Sox who want him in their organization to overpay for him. But the Brewers went ugly. That's why you didn't hear a lot about, you know, like even the Diamondbacks, right? Gino was the home run king when he was on the Dbacks.
Yeah.
And you're hearing Corbin Carroll's offensive season isn't crazy, and he's doing something no D-back has ever done. Geraldo Perdomo is doing something no D-back has ever done. You didn't really hear that about the Brewers. They just prevented runs and
that's kind of what I was going to say, Derek, is they're almost the anti-Diamondbacks. And I think that the answer probably about this question is should the Diamondbacks model after the Brewers is probably somewhere in the middle. Because if the Diamondbacks could figure out a way to internally develop pitching the way that the Milwaukee Brewers do, we would be in the postseason every single year. Because it's never the lineup that is the reason that's holding the Diamondbacks back. It is always the pitching. And this is a franchise history type of ordeal. This is a thing that's been consistent forever. And usually when this team has like a decent pitching staff, they make the postseason. That's typically like almost like a 100% success rate, I feel like. I'd have to look back truly, but it feels that way at least. So, like 2014 or I'm sorry, 2011, like that, you bring in Ian Kennedy, you don't expect much. Daniel Hudson's nice. Josh Colmenter has a really good ERA, and you're like, wow, this team's really good. All of a sudden, we have pitchers that are not diabolically bad, and this team is, a contender for the World Series. I think that the answer is how do we figure out how the Brewers are developing these pitchers?
Yeah.
And the Brewers, conversely, need to be like, how are the Diamondbacks doing this thing with the position players? Because Ernesto's right. Like the Brewers, the problem with the Brewers is that they always lack that big hit from like a superstar because they don't have that dude.
Yeah, right. And I mean, you could say that they have a kind of a mold that they make guys into superstars that are unlikely superstars.
Yeah, like Yelich got better, and he was great for like a couple years, right, when he was there. But he's kind of like, I'm not saying he's not a great baseball player. He's not like MVP caliber baseball player like he was for a season.
That's where the Diamondbacks kind of had the edge, because you could say Ketel Marte is kind of that Brewers mold type of guy, right? The guy that was one of the lesser guys of importance in his own trade, and somehow came here and became that MVP candidate that you're talking about that none of the Brewers players have really become. And Ryan Nelson, another guy that's maybe a bit more of what they've been doing with their pitchers up there, right? And that's the key. How do the Diamondbacks figure out the internal infrastructure to develop pitching at Milwaukee's level? And again, that's personnel. That comes with personnel, and that's the reason why perhaps Brian Kaplan doesn't have that experience. Maybe this goes beyond Brian Kaplan as the pitching coach. I just don't know, but I mean,
it's an organizational thing, clearly. Like, they've had so many pitching coaches, Derek, and it doesn't matter. The bullpen always stinks, right? Like, that's a 100% fact.
Like, that transcends eras, that transcends managers, that transcends GMs. This team, as you know, like, that was part of the whole Randy Johnson coming out of the bullpen in the World Series thing, right? Like, it was like, we're going to let this happen, but you guys are screwed after this. So we were like, no, that's fine. We don't care. We only need one World Series. We don't ever need to win another one. Now it's like,
hey, I was just thinking about that whole deal we made and how we gave up success forever. Yeah. Could we maybe talk about it?
I mean, would you reconsider? Because
having a bad bullpen for the rest of time forever is it hurts. It's not fun.
Feel great. It doesn't feel great. Well,
I think it is like an organizational thing, you know.
Yes, 100%.
It starts with the scouts. It goes to the coaching staff, the developmental staff. And that's not to say that these guys are all bad at their jobs, because they do develop a lot of people. But there's issues. There's issues.
I'll say this: even though they kind of got these young guys and threw them right into the fire, right? I was pretty impressed with the talent assessment that the scouts in the front office did in acquiring pieces back in those trades at the trade deadline that were so close to being ready that the Diamondbacks felt comfortable putting guys like Andrew Hoffman and Brandon Garcia and Juan Burgos into these high leverage situations right away. Hey, welcome to the big leagues. You're pitching Phillip Abner. You were pitching in Hillsboro a cup of coffee ago. You're going to be pitching against Ohtani and Freddie Freeman here in the 8th. That's incredible. And I feel like for the most part, they weren't complete disasters. It's not to say the numbers might not argue against me on that. Some of their ERAs were pretty bad, but they also had a very small sample size of being in there at the major league level. And they were asked to do some heroic things for this team that many of them did not end up being able to do, but also was a lot to be asked of them. Right. So I do think the Diamondbacks are good at talent assessment and getting those talented players onto this team.
Yeah, when they go, Max Scherzer is unbelievable. I mean, they scouted that guy out. That's pretty good.
I don't like that you did that.
They find Cy Young winning pitchers.
How can we make them Cy Young winning while we're here, Robbie Ray? While you're here,
he who shall not be named, but also won a Cy Young one year and now doesn't pitch in baseball anymore, but sucked on the Dbacks.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the case, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to maybe hack into the Brewers system and figure out exactly what they're doing.
Who did that? Wasn't that the Cardinals that did that to the Astros or something like that?
Yeah, and we'll do it too. We're not above that. But I do want to remind you guys to join our PHNX Cardinals crew on October 19th. That is this weekend, this Sunday, out there at 11 a.m. for a pregame tailgate at Chicken and Pickle in Glendale before the Cardinals take on the Packers. I will be out there. I'm going to go watch Burt Kreischer on Friday night in Glendale. I can't wait for that. Then I'm going to have a yard sale on Saturday that I am just dreading more than anything in my entire life. And then on Sunday, we're going to tailgate out there. So join us. We're going to have our PHNX Cardinals crew out there live for a pregame, halftime, and postgame show. And then our friends at Rally House will also be giving away 8 $50 gift cards to fans in attendance. That is 8 $50. Am I eligible for that, Damon? Can I get one of those? Because if so, I'll definitely be there and bring every member of my family. So go to gophnx.com/events to RSVP for this free event. So appreciate you guys so much. Oh, and Maria is here, so now we're officially a
She
podcast.
said, "Is anyone happy for me?" And Zabe immediately
No.
goes, "No, sorry, Maria."
No, sorry, Maria, not on this show. But hey, it's not your fault. It's not the fact that you grew up a Dodgers fan and loved the team. We blame Major League Baseball. Actually, we blame the Dodgers. I take that back. We blame the Dodgers for breaking baseball. But if you like baseball that isn't broken, I implore you once again to check out the Arizona Fall League. Our Salt River Rafters ride the raft, get their second win of the year.
No one loves this team more than Derek Montilla,
me
man.
and Damon have nicknamed ourselves the Riff Raffs. We
fact.
are the Riff Raffs. That one's all Damon. I'm not going to even take any responsibility for that one. But they beat the Desert Dogs tonight by a score of 5-2 for their second win of the year. Yancel Luis was 2 for 5 with a double and a run scored. He is hitting .286 with a .756 OPS for the Raft. So that's a lot of fun. He is one of their top prospects that you can check out on this team. So that's great. Dre Jameson got things back on track. He had a few rough outings there, but he had a one inning of work. He only gave up one hit and struck out one. However, his ERA this season for the Rafters currently at 15.43. Not great. Kyle Ament had an amazing clean inning. Went out there, 1 inning pitch, 3 strikeouts. Dude's a stud and a G. Unfortunately, because of small sample size, his ERA right now is 10.80. But we don't care about ERAs in Arizona Fall League. We don't really care about results. What we care about is getting to see these guys go out there.
Yeah, we kind of just care about the vibes. More than anything.
And the vibes are so good.
Yeah.
The vibes are superior.
Oh, we lost. Oh, yeah. Let's stay healthy and let's stay happy, people.
You can tell people turn around. They don't even know what's going on in the game. They're like, what inning are we in? I don't care. I was just enjoying my hot dog that was ridiculously low in price and still commenting to my friend that we only paid $14 to get in here. So another name to look out for that's not related to the Dbacks, Rowdy Rodriguez. Great name. Awesome name? I don't know. Is it an awesome name or is it the greatest name that I've ever heard a baseball player have?
It sounds like a wrestler.
Rowdy Rodriguez. Absolutely. Roddy Rodriguez is what his name should be. He's an Angels prospect. He's killing it for the Raft. He is hitting .444 in the AFL play. He has a 1.472 OPS. And Damon, he's not even in the top 30 prospects for the Angels. So again, this is a great example of what the Arizona Fall League can truly do for some of these young prospects, because outside of that top 30, you tend to fall off. You tend to get lost in the shuffle, and it's hard for these young guys to make a name for themselves. So for a guy like this to come out there and hit .444 with a 1.472 OPS, I guarantee he won't not be ranked in the Angels' top 30 prospects for long. So
they clearly believe in him if they're sending him to the Fall League, right?
Well, I mean, Fall League's weird because, again, when you look at the Diamondbacks prospects out there, it's not their top prospects by any stretch of the imagination. There's no Ryan Waldschmidt. There's no, there's not the top guys. But like I said, Yancel Luis, I think, is 12th prospect. So, I mean, again, not super low either.
It feels like you're 7 through 15 guys go to the Fall League.
Yeah. Or a guy like Dre Jameson. That's a guy that's a minor leaguer that's not necessarily listed as a top prospect anymore. Trying to get some playing time, especially after an injury like he went through this season. But again, yes, Deborah is absolutely right. She says different than spring games for sure. So it's spring games have kind of I don't know how to explain it other than, once again, using an analogy for Southern Arizona, Damon. Spring games are like Phoenix now. It's bustling. There's a lot of people. It's crowded. You still love it the same, but it's more expensive to be there, and you don't love that, and it's hard to find a place to park, right? You're not going to have that at Arizona Fall League games. You're going to enjoy some space. You're going to enjoy some cool people, and most importantly, you're going to enjoy incredibly low prices on concessions and gas.
See, that part of it is really cool. Here's what I will say, Derek. Don't act like you don't love that other stuff about spring training. You absolutely do. When you take baseball away from sweet Derek for a couple months, and then all of a sudden you start up spring training.
Oh, it's
and
glorious.
Salt
It's
River
the best
Fields
time of
are
the
just
year.
packed on the weekends. Derek is eating it up.
Yeah, he's not wrong. But it's definitely far more expensive to go to games.
We should
sure,
do more content, I feel like, this year when it comes to spring training stuff than we have in the past. Like, really try to get out there, really try to do some fun content ideas at the spring training events.
Ayrton's out here throwing gang signs up at me, and so I gotta wrap things up. So I gotta fight him for sure. But
yeah,
we appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. We will be back tomorrow with another 12 p.m. show. Sorry, Jesse had a pressing meeting that I should have addressed this earlier for Zayd, but Jesse will be back with us next Tuesday. So make sure to join us for that. Make sure to join us tomorrow for our 12 p.m. show. And until then, you can follow us on Twitter. I am at @cap_caveman with a K. Damon is at Damon Dawg with a DAWG at the end. We are all Damon's dogs. Bark, bark. Our show is at PHNX_Dbacks. But of course, as always, all roads lead to @PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We love you guys. We thank you so much for your time. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a wonderful evening. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you ride the raft.
We all silly like the mayor.